Okay. 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 Solution 2B. 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 Take one. Okay. That was a pretty rat-arsed. Okay. So. Okay, welcome back. Welcome forwards. Okay. Yeah, looking forwards. Welcome back. We're looking forwards. My name is David Pinto, and we're talking now about all these different systems, how they fit together. Now, you've now made the decision to join, okay, the person who shared this with you, in the sense that it's now your decision. It's no longer their decision. That was the first part. They decided that you should have a look at this, and you were generous enough to watch. Now you've made the decision, yeah, okay, it's interesting enough, I'm going to watch this. Now that means that you and the person who shared this with you, and everybody that shared this, we're in the same space. So I'm recording this right now at this moment. The person who shared this with you is watching this at the same moment that you are watching this. Okay, so they also made the decision. When it was shared with them, they also made the decision it was for them to watch it. Okay, and at the end of this period, you're going to decide whether you want to share this with somebody else before you watch the third part. Okay, either you might go, well, okay, that's enough for me, share it, fine, or you might be interested in the third part, but you're going to make a decision to share it before you get into the third part because it makes it free. It liberates you and me and everybody from the structures of, oh, it's all been described before, the guy knows what he's talking about, blah, 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 it's just dull stuff. No, it creates an opportunity for me to be able to be experimental and say things and do things that it's just not being scripted. Okay, and it also means that you are free to think and make notes about things, okay, without worrying about whether you have to recommend it or not to others. Okay, so we're kind of all free from a certain level of judgment. It's very, very important because we're exploring things that are inconceivable. Okay, so specifically, we're talking about world peace. How do we get world peace? Okay, now we're not going to be able to do it using traditional methods of understanding who we are, or we've got religious practices of, well, you know, we've had religious practices talking about world peace and so on and so forth, but it just hasn't happened. Why? Because there are self-supporting ways of thinking and actions that just don't work, are not conducive for it. However, we've created these alternative techniques. Now, there are different, we are watching this at different chronological times. Okay, that's the whole point about reflexive reading, is that obviously the writer wrote it before we read it. Okay, so I recorded this before you watched this, and you watched this after the friend watched it and then passed it on to you. Those are chronological periods. So the person you share this with will watch this after. Chronologically, you're watching this now. However, relative to the actual experience of watching this video, we're watching this all at the same moment, concurrently, correspondingly. Now, what I would like to do is get closer to this notion of we need to enter into this. If we don't enter into this for the next part for sure, then it's just another person talking. Okay? If we don't activate some kind of spiritual practice, okay, that is not constrained by religion, okay? So you might be practicing this in a religious framework, but basically you're extracting yourself from a religious organization. It is not tied necessarily to the religious organization. It is your experience. Okay. Similarly with academia, it doesn't matter what academia is taught, how long academics have been within academia, doesn't matter what the qualifications are, extracting yourself from that institution, and you've got a lot of knowledge, okay? And that is valid, okay? And the trick is, how do we contribute that in a useful way collectively? Similarly with mathematics, whatever it is that you think about mathematics, however skillful you might be in mathematics, it's like, wait a minute, you're doing the mathematics, and that's the bit that's important. You know, how is your doing of the mathematics in any shape or form related to, not religious, but the practices of a person who is religious, to the practice of a person who's an academic. And so, okay, so basically there are these different things. We're extracting ourselves from any institution. That's what we need to do. Okay, maybe I should have made that clear before in the previous part. That's what we're doing here. We're creating not only the mental space, and in order to create that mental space, we're creating a little bubble for us in this time period. Because we are allowing ourselves to go, wait a minute, okay, I'm no longer going to think institutional, because I'm not getting paid for this. Are you getting paid? You are getting paid for this. The person who gave this to you is kind of paying you. Okay, but if this works, you're going to pay it forwards. Okay, all right. So we're escaping from whatever we think about economics. Okay, and that's a 3,000-year kind of game, silo thing that we're all in. All right. To escape from that is a bit tricky. However, the best way to think about it to escape it is have a look at kids, because they're not in it. They're definitely not in it. If you look at very small children, they're just running around having a laugh. All right. As they become adolescents, they go, wait a minute. Okay, wait a minute. There's this money thing. I kind of want some money, and they start entering into that kind of economic. But up to a certain point, you're basically giving money to the kids. You're giving them food. You're giving them toys. You're giving them, and you go, oh, how's that working? And it worked for us. We all grew up. Okay, we all grew up in a gift economy. Okay, we all did. Doesn't matter how poor we were. Okay, basically people were giving us literally milk in our mouths. Okay, and we were given space and time. Some of us more than others, and some of us, not particularly pleasant experiences. Okay, we do want to consider that. Okay, so, but we're not as adults going, okay, this is how the world works. We're not falling back. Business, we're not doing business as usual. We're not even doing the fake, business, not normal business. No, this is a completely different way of getting stuff done. Or in education or in state. So what we're doing is we're exiting from any institution. In order for that to happen, you are basically alone. Okay, it's like you're on a mountainside and there's nobody else about, or in a marsh, or in a desert, or in the sea in a rowing boat, and it's just you. Okay, and so it's like that kind of attitude. Okay, it's kind of like social distance, zero social distance, in the sense of there is absolutely nobody about. You're not taking part in any social thing whatsoever. It's just you. Interesting, but of course, it's not, because you're watching this, and you might be alone watching this on your side, experiencing it. However, it was shared with you, and that person is watching this at this moment now, and went through a similar experience to this, watching this and making a decision whether they wanted to share it with you, and they made a positive decision and they shared it with you. That's the one thing that you've got on top of, or an advantage to the person who shared this with you. Okay? Because they've made it true. They've been through this process and they've made it true, and you're experiencing the truth of their experience. They have shared it and you accepted it, and you're watching it now. So similarly, right now, into the future, a person might pop into your head that might really like this, or like aspects of this, and you're going to share it with them. And at this point, you're like, they're just imaginary, okay? But when they're watching it, and they're watching it at this moment, it will be fully real to them. And it's because you are real and you made that decision. Do you get what I'm saying? Okay, so there's something happening here which we are releasing. And that's the bit that we need to, by the end of this, okay? The end of this period, this part 2, we've entered into this and we've released the energy of the fact that you're completely alone, and yet simultaneously we are all alone. Okay. We're not part of any institution. This, and the things that I'm describing, does not create an institution. Okay, the use of Sqale, yes, it uses an app, but I have promised that is going to become a a fully distributed system, okay, at some point when we can. So basically, to turn it into something like HTTP, but a fully distributed internet. Okay, so anybody that's got basically a mobile phone, as small as a mobile phone, or even a watch, can take part in a global network. And there's no DNS and there's no separate centers. It's all a completely distributed internet. Okay, we'd like to get there. There are people working on it, and at some point that system will emerge, and we will be financing that and dissolving companies. And that's what these other structures will be doing. They will be dissolving, all right? But right now, all we're trying to do for this video is just think about the possibility. Okay. Now, in order to think about that possibility, to make it a little bit easier for us, okay, so it's fully empowering something which is individually within you, right? Okay, I'm going to start with this. Okay. This is you. You're watching this at this moment. It's undeniable. Okay. For me, it's imaginary. For the person who shared this with you, it's imaginary at the time that they are watching this at this moment now. Okay, do you see how it gets a little bit tricky? So, just think about you, and you are in existence now. Check it out. Yes, you are. Okay, and you're going through time. I am too. It's just that we're at different chronological times. However, we're both sharing this moment. Okay, you have full control. You have digital, literally fingers, digits, digital control to switch this on and off. Okay, that power is something that we are not making use of yet. Why? Because of companies and organizations, economics and blah blah, how we think about mathematics, how we think about ourselves and religions and academia and how we're educated and so on and so forth. We haven't really liberated our digital control. Okay, what we're doing here is we're saying, well, you can switch me on and off. That's easy. Okay, but why? Why would you want to do that? Okay, now here's the experience. We need to enter into and exploit fully the commonality between us. Okay, now you're doing this, not me. I'm verbalizing the possibility of it. It's actually you that goes, oh yeah, okay, fair enough, I'm going to do this. And you're extending the sense of reality that you have now to me. That's a very generous thing. And it's imaginative. It's fully imaginative. Okay, because obviously I'm talking and I'm in the past and blah, blah, blah. But for you to go, and in the future, what's going to be happening is there's going to be AI. And this all could be a construct. Okay, you could look at screens and you won't know if it's your parents talking, your kids talking, you won't know. Okay, because it will be photorealistic, and it could be. Okay, now we don't know, but we're not quite there yet. And that's why it's important that we start to exercise our reflexive condition, okay, and start to use technology and economics and how we think about things and all the resources and religions and all things in order to really bring to the fore our actual experience. Okay, so your experience is going, okay, fair enough. This guy, he's talking, and he's talking in a way which is concurrent. Okay, and I'm going to extend that sensibility. I'm also going to extend that sensibility to the person who watched this before me and shared this with me. And in fact, everybody who's watched this is watching this at the same moment. Now, this is no little funny little thought. It is. It is a funny little thought, okay? However, if we make use of it and we start to use the kind of seriousness that religions have demonstrated in the past, but we bring it to this experience, okay, a balanced, considered, respectful experience, you, me, our relationship, and the people from the past. And, okay, I'm going to say, well, okay, I'm going to do it. I can't help it because I do this automatically. And I'm definitely in this position of going, well, you're in the future. When I'm recording this, there is definitely nobody in this room. It's all imaginary. Now, I have to extend my imagination to everybody. Fine. But what we're talking about is, more importantly, you're extending the truth of your experience to include me. Okay? It's not me that's important in my talking, it's you and the person in the future. Wrong, fool. You're foolish, Mark. Okay. It's also extended into the future to include the people that are watching this at this moment, this video. You can imagine them watching this and going, oh, and that's why you're making the decision to include them, because they're like, oh, can they handle this? Are they interested in this? And so on and so forth. Why? If we can liberate this, okay, as a video experience, when we start to do it in other conditions like in academia or in business, we will change the world, or in education. This is the core practice. This is the core practice. Because the power is yours. The decision you're going to make will increase the number of people that will watch this. That's it. Now that's just a numbers game, increasing the number. So for example, if you're there, if you choose to share this, you share the money was given to you to another person, and then you add your pound and you share it with the second person, or the third. I like 3, and I'll explain why I like 3 people, okay? It's to do with the powers of 3, okay? 3 to the power of 20. So it's this ability to have this imaginative hermeneutic to expand your sense of the truth and the thing that you are and the reflexive condition you are willing to extend that to everybody who ever watches this. So if there's only 2 people that have watched this beforehand, then wow, okay, it's just 2 people that have watched this, okay? But if you share it forwards, you will be responsible for hundreds, thousands, millions of people who watch this. Now, if you cannot extend your imagination to consider these other people, that's okay. All you need to do is go, fair enough, I'm just going to share with 2 people. That's it. Okay. If you do that bit, you can still take part in the third part. Okay, you're absolving yourself of your inability to imagine whether, 1 million people could watch this. Okay, so that's why I can do what I'm doing. I'm recording this now, and I'm telling you, okay, I know one person just might watch some of this. Okay, and I have to choose which of these videos. I'm trying various iterations to see, which one might work. And they'll be looking at this going, okay, it's David saying his things. Yeah, I'm aware of a few of those things. Okay. And then they're going to pass on to their mum, okay, a friend, and they're like, oh, I don't know. Okay, that's the way that they're going to be. Okay, so it's difficult. It is difficult. But if we want any chance of global unity, we need to strengthen our social ties. We need to take the social risk. And what we're doing in this this part 2 is going, okay, we need to extend this at least psychologically. We need to have the courage to share this. Now, luckily, the person before you has demonstrated this. They've said it's okay, and they've decided to share it with you. So that you can bank on. They've demonstrated the courage to share something, okay? And your task is to go, okay, fair enough, I'm going to share that. In order to enter into the third part, where we will seriously be talking about the possibility for global unity. Okay, now that is a difficult thing to accept, even the thinking possibility. But we're going to be able to do that because you're going to choose, okay, I'm going to at least share this with another person. So it's not my limitation. I'm going to overcome my limitation of what I think is possible or not possible by sharing this before I actually experience, the kind of mind-blowing potential. Okay, that's just, I'm not even capable of considering. Don't worry, me too. Okay, this is not just a solitary thing that you have problems with. Believe me, it's a thing that we all have problems with. Okay. Now, so we're something like 20 minutes into here. I haven't gone into, I spent a long time talking about this to the point where if people are already aware, people have looked at this and they've got it, they're looking at this and David's still talking about this. And that's the thing, I still end up talking about this thing rather than enacting it. And I need to give you more experience to enact it. I definitely do. Gosh, I'm just not quite giving enough experience for you to really get the point for yourself to go, well, yeah, I am actually thinking things that are actually tricky. Okay, so what we're entering into to be honest, I had a plan. The plan was a blue circle indicated one thing, talk about the blue. That was part one. Part two, do red, and then part three would be the green. Okay, and I was going to go through each one of them and go into a little bit more detail. The red thing for the action cycles, the red thing for Sqale, the red thing for execute, and then the green. That's what I had originally planned. We're 20 minutes in, and I'm really talking about this. Okay, this thing, really bringing it out. But I'm just talking about it rather than actually making it happen. So I'm kind of not succeeding in either. Damn. I think this is a take two. For anybody else that managed to get this kind of like buried, to excavate this video, this is the kind of thing that happens. It's like, how do I describe this and present a concise form of it? It's challenging. The other one took 40 minutes. I might just continue anyway in this failed attempt. Okay. Yeah, I probably should have written up the red things. Yeah. Should I stop this now? Yeah, I think I'm going to stop this, stick up some red things, and then we'll go into it. Okay, still part two. Okay, still part two.